I'm meteorologist Caitlin McGrath. We are continuing to track the tropics and now Hurricane Ian, a hurricane as of the morning advisory from the National Hurricane Center. Sustained winds at 80 miles per hour as it moves towards western Cuba, and it is expected to rapidly strengthen throughout the day today, moving to the north and west at 13 miles per hour. Now, the National Hurricane Center is forecasting this storm to become a Category 2 hurricane prior to landfall. So a big concern for western Cuba for that landfall late tonight and early tomorrow morning. The timing, an additional concern. Not only are we talking about a really powerful hurricane moving into parts of the island, but moving in while a lot of folks are sleeping. So we're going to be keeping a really close eye on western Cuba late tonight and early tomorrow morning. But then notice what happens as the storm moves overland and back into the incredibly warm Gulf of Mexico, intensifying to a Category 4 hurricane, a major hurricane by tomorrow night with winds at 140 miles per hour. Now, the storm does look to maintain that strength as it continues to push off to the northeast, closer to Florida as we head towards Thursday morning. Notice this is Thursday, 8 a.m. The storm, once it starts to move to the north of Cuba, moves very slowly, and that's concerning for a number of reasons. Prolonged heavy rain, prolonged storm surge, multiple rounds of storm tide, meaning the storm surge on top of astronomical high tide. That could be a really catastrophic situation for parts of the Florida Gulf Coast. So Thursday, 8 a.m., the storm sitting just to the west of Tampa, not making landfall according to this track of the National Hurricane Center's forecast until Friday morning, moving into parts of closer to the Florida Panhandle, weakening once it starts to interact with land, but still a really significant storm by Thursday night and Friday morning when we are expecting that landfall currently. And I say currently because there is still a lot to fine tune here over the next several days. We've seen the track shift from farther east to farther west. There's a lot of synoptic features at play where the storm's going to get pushed, or it could get pulled farther west, meaning landfall in the Florida Panhandle. So really anywhere in this cone of concern needs to prepare for a potential landfall sometime Thursday into Friday, because again, the track isn't the only variable at play here. The timing also unclear right now. But ahead of the storm, we do have hurricane warnings in effect for parts of western Cuba. That's where you see it highlighted there in red. Tropical storm warnings in effect highlighted in yellow, and hurricane watches and a few more tropical storm warnings depending upon what part of Florida that you're looking at. But still, this is your heads up that now is the time to prepare. If you have loved ones in Florida, if you have property in Florida, there are a number of threats on the table right now. Here's a look at one of our computer model's rainfall outputs, bringing in over 7 inches of rain for Tallahassee, nearly 8 inches of rain in Daytona Beach, over 5.5 inches for Orlando, Tampa, Cape Coral. This is going to be a really big rainmaker, especially because the storm, again, forecast to move so slow. But in addition to the rainfall, we're also concerned about the storm surge. We're going to talk more about that in just a minute. But first, our hurricane spaghetti models. We oftentimes show this to show you all of the potential tracks. Now, there is a lot of agreement that the storm passes through western Cuba, again, late tonight, early tomorrow morning. But then, look, we still have a really significant split in potential tracks, each line indicating a different computer model's outlook of where the storm may go. Some of these models keep it to the south of Tampa. Others have it all the way into the Florida Panhandle. So the takeaway here is that you need to check back in often. We get these updates from the National Hurricane Center throughout the day, and we will always update you first on air and online, and of course on our WUSA 9 app. Here's a look at what the National Hurricane Center has been issuing. It's an experimental forecast dictating the peak storm surge, and you can see parts of Tampa and Tampa Bay. The potential peak storm surge, 5 to 10 feet. Again, that is a wall of water on top of sea level. So that just pushes water onshore. And again, with the slow forward motion of the storm, we could see multiple rounds of the storm surge coinciding with the astronomical high tide. The farther south you go, the lesser the storm surge impact expected right now. 5 to 8 feet just to the south of Tampa, closer to Fort Myers and Naples. 4 to 7 feet of storm surge, and still significant storm surge for southwestern Florida and parts of the Florida Keys. So again, this storm still days away from impact, making landfall in Cuba later tonight. But Florida, you still have time to prepare. Make sure you're checking in with loved ones, making sure everyone has the very latest information and preparing for a high impact storm sometime later this week. We'll continue to keep you updated online and on air as well.